So who are we starting with here, lads? We should usually discuss this preemptively.
Either Jack Carr or just do them in order, Kamar. Yeah.
I'm going to start with 1819, Cameron Haynes selling a book. That's why I was there.
So rude.
Well, no, I mean, just the facts, ma'am.
Joe's a funny guy.
Just the facts, man.
Joe's a funny guy in that, like, if someone he knows has a book, he's just immediately like, this thing has to be a bestseller. Like, he doesn't care what genre it's in. Like, you could come on and be like, I wrote a book about, I don't know, whittling wood, you know, and Joe would be like, how is this thing not a bestseller? You're such an incredible guy. Like, I just don't get it.
Cameron Haynes has some sort of mentor position in Joe's life.
I understand that.
He did the both things, so he looks up to him. I don't think it's still any Tom, Dick, and Harry, even in Joe's universe, who has a book.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just saying that, listen, he acted like Cameron Haynes should shoot to the top of the New York Times bestsellers list, and I was just like, I don't know, like, I'm sure it's a great, inspiring book if you're into that sort of thing, but why, like, I don't know. There's a lot of books out there is my only point.
In my whole life, what does that even mean to be on? What do you need to do to get onto the New York?
Well, like they talked about
sellers.
It's subjective because it's not necessarily numbers because he said Jordan Peterson sold enough to be on.
But the weird thing is, I'm pretty sure if you look at his book, it says #1 New York Times bestseller on Jordan Peterson's book.
12 rules.
Yeah.
That was what they were discussing.
Like, I could have swore when they said that, and then they pulled up that article, which obviously discredited my thoughts, but I could have swore that it was definitely on the New York Times bestsellers
100,000
list.
copies or whatever. I can't.
Is that what it is? It's a number, presumably.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's there's a threshold. Yeah,
It's like a gold record,
yeah.
platinum record, whatever. It's all just selling a certain amount of records. I wonder if anybody gets those anymore.
Platinum records.
And I guess
well, they
Do they?
you
base
do
it on
that streams now. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Wow. I
And
wonder how they did that conversion. Like what? How many streams equal buying one album? Is it just a money thing, you think?
I don't know. I would assume it's probably something in the range of like, this is just me throwing out 10 to 1, like for every 10 streams.
albums still go gold if they sell 100,000. I think it's 100,000 copies.
When was the last time an album sold 100,000 copies?
Well, probably Kanye, right? That
I told you, Kanye and 50 were the last two big
but
selling.
Kanye with his little fucking thing, how many did he sell?
I don't think that counts as, I don't know what that would count as. I don't know if that counts as album sales. I don't know.
But academics will always post like so-and-so has 37,000 units sold in their first week, which projects to be over the next 3 months, it'll be 300,000. So that'd be a gold, triple gold record or something like that. But I think with the New York Times, you have to sell before you get on the list. And then if you get on that list, it's like winning an Oscar.
If
I
you
don't know.
get on the
That
list, it
catapults you more.
helps
Now
you,
you've
yeah.
got the
or you
cosign.
or you just go on Rogan.
Or you go on Rogan.
Or Oprah. I mean, that was the old
The
one,
Oprah
right?
Book Club. I
Yeah.
mean, that's Rogan should start the Rogan Book Club. That would be a good way to
They have it online.
get under. I know, but if he,
Yeah, I know.
went about it like a fucking sober October, not like that, but just with that kind of chutzpah, he would. That would be a great way to like help some of his friends, like Cameron Haynes, maybe who needs help pushing their book, if he needs help pushing his book, and also a good way to find like lesser known.
I mean, if you think about it,
artists that Joe likes.
he already has this. He probably has one person pushing a book a month, and they usually discuss.
Yeah, I want him to call it the
I
Joe
get it, I
Rogan
get it.
Book Club.
But I just think he can't do that because at a book club, you discuss a book at length, right?
Joe doesn't want to co-sign anything. You
Well,
know
yeah,
what
I mean,
I'm
he
saying?
shouldn't.
He doesn't want to put his name behind anything. Like, because look what
Except for a
happened to
pool
Oprah.
tournament.
Yeah, a million little pieces.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That
Secret.
guy.
I thought it was a secret.
No. The guy who got turned out to be a total fucking
Yeah, it was a million
liar.
little pieces. Yeah.
That's happened to Joe once.
Oh,
Dave Asprey
Kressler.
or something.
No.
There's been a couple there. But
I mean, I think having War Machine on is I mean, I guess he hadn't killed his girlfriend.
but now that I've rethunked this whole chiropractic thing, maybe Kressler got kicked off unfairly.
I don't
but
know.
a book,
I doubt it.
A book sold is not a book read. And I wonder if a audio book.
What?
Well, no, he's right. Because listen, I bought Jordan Peterson's book on Audible because I was like, I got to see what all the hype is about, and he reads it. So I got about
There goes that.
I got about maybe 45 seconds into that book,
That's a book read though. Like you are.
but I didn't read the book.
further than someone who doesn't own the book, who will never have a chance at reading it, and you paid the money for it. Like,
Listen,
Kamar didn't read Hotep Jesus's book, but he lined the guy's pockets.
That's a book sold. Not
Listen,
read.
I guess you're right. If I write a book and you buy it and don't read it, I don't care. That's a dub for me.
And like, you know how subjective these fucking listens are. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's what I was saying.
Who knows?
It's not the same thing as a sold book and a sold audiobook.
Again, I think
That's what all the
you're
Nazis said,
way
Simon.
more-
They were all like, we bought Mein Kampf, but we never read it.
Book sold is
At least
not
I got a
read.
laugh out of you from that. They're like, that's what was in it? Oh my God.
Well, that would be a good excuse in court.
Yeah, the ignorance. Just
You
plead
think
ignorance.
we read the fine print?
Yeah.
It's like
I can't even read German.
the Apple contracts. You
Yeah, I
know?
just hit accept.
I just hit accept. Next thing
You
I
are now in the
know-
KKK.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah, what?
much, man. You're now a Scientologist. I'm sure we're all Scientologists.
I feel like this could have been an MMA episode as well.
Oh, they talked a lot of MMA for a guy who's not a
fight heavy.
fucking fighter.
Well, he bled into it because his book is sort of about mindset. Like, what it takes to be a champion, lose, get back on that horse, ride.
I would.
I mean, Cam also spoke about MMA like he watches it naked masturbating.
Yeah, he's into it.
Like he
He's into
didn't have like a. It sounded way more like that than like the technical aspect of it. Like he was really,
No, he's balls deep in it, for
Yeah.
sure.
and he loves the Trump supporting fighters.
I think Colby's his best friend.
Well, but he's like, love Gaethje, love Chandler, Colby met him at a Trump rally. Like it's fucking hilarious to me. There's so many good fighters in the UFC. Colby's a terrible piece of shit. I can't see why anyone would ever like
But
him.
is Masvidal now more of a piece of shit?
I don't think
that's-
Masvidal's a great guy either. But I'll say this. I'm not ever going to say anything on recorded bad about Masvidal because he's that dude.
But he is that guy, but a cheap shot's a cheap shot.
what did he do? What? What?
He attacked Colby Covington at a outside of Miami restaurant like a week after the fight. You didn't see that? Chipped his
no.
tooth.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Did he beat the
blindsided.
shit out of him?
Well, him and a bunch of goons, like, wasn't it the Nelk boys that set him up?
They're in a lot of trouble for setting people up.
What is happening here? I'm so balls.
Okay, so the
deep
Nelk
in
boys did an
Below
interview.
Deck.
The Nelk boys did an interview, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kamar. The Nelk boys did an interview with Colby Covington. They then go out for dinner in Miami after said interview, and whatever his name is,
Masvidal.
no, well, yeah, the
Steve
guy
will do it.
was it. Steve will do it. Who did it?
No,
Okay,
I do not know the facts. I'm
someone
just
in the
giving
Nelk
names.
boys camp texted Masvidal and was like, "We're going to be at said restaurant with Colby Covington." Masvidal had said openly, "If I see this guy in public, it's on site."
So they're hoping this all happens on their show. Or
Well, I don't know. Either way, Masvidal is a man of his word. He showed up at said restaurant, and an altercation ensued.
And he cheap shotted him. No,
Yeah.
you can't say that on record. How did it all go down?
I didn't see it.
According
Kamar,
to Cam
you
Haynes,
say it.
According to Cam Haynes, it was a cheap shot because Cam Haynes said, "I have no problem if they say you said shit about my mom. Let's go right now and duke it out. But if you just walk up and hit someone,
But
it
Masvidal
was
has-
it a Trump cheap shot or was it a cheap shot?
First of all, it's a cheap shot, and Masvidal has said it. He's like, "I will sucker punch people. This is not below me.
but if,
I do this."
because you say you'll do something doesn't make it all right.
I'm just saying.
Respect him.
No, but what I'm saying is like,
Be
if
a
you
follow through guy.
With
My-
all due respect, Kamar, you're a humongous asshole.
No. My point was
No
like,
offense
if Cam
taken.
Haynes said to Masvidal that was a cheap shot, he'd be like, "Yeah, that's what I was going for. That was the idea."
So, anyways, so he cheap shot it, or no.
Yeah, and then the cops get
retract
called,
that.
the cops
He
show up.
Punched him quite fairly, I would imagine, at a table.
No, I think it was outside the restaurant,
Where were the Nelk boys in all of this?
inside the restaurant, I
I
believe.
don't know. I should
But
know.
they set the whole thing up.
I don't know. This is all allegedly. I don't care. None of this
Oh,
shit.
you don't want to say that either? Are you afraid
No,
of the
I'm
Nelk
just
boys?
no. I'm just saying allegedly. I don't know the story. I don't know the full
Kamar,
thing.
what happened with the Nelk boys?
I don't know. He brought up as like that sounds like something.
But then you said
They set up
they've set
another rapper apparently who is a Little Dirk impersonator. Like it's starting to get out of control.
Who is Little Dirk?
Okay, Little Dirk's hip hop artist,
'Kay.
rap, whatever. I don't know what you want to call his genre, trap. And there's this Haitian kid who looks like him, who's getting followers on Instagram because he looks similar. He's not a rapper. He's just like an
So
impersonator.
he's the fake Dirk?
And he's a fake Dirk. He's a fake Dirk, but no one has a problem with that. Like, remember we talking about selling out stuff? Like
Yeah.
There was a time when if you tried to be someone else, like, what do you do?
He-
Be yourself.
He's Lil Ferk.
I mean, dude, if I looked like Ed Sheeran, I would be out making money off the fact that I looked like Ed Sheeran.
No, I doubt you would. Though.
Bro, I promise you, I'd be at Rito Center right now taking photos with fans, like like by the dozen.
Like Kamar looks like all sorts of people. You could be out there fucking raking in the cash.
But I don't do that.
You won't prostitute yourself.
Yeah,
like
I'm not that guy.
Proselytize
I'm not that
yourself
guy.
like that.
He totally would.
They have a list of stuff. Then he's been Steve will do it specifically. Has been called out for even associating with 6ix9ine because 6ix9ine was a guy who sort of jumped this guy, and he's got a fight with
Lil Durk or Little Ferk.
Little Opio or whatever. If you know, right in, tell me what it is. But it's Brandon Marshall.
I don't know any of these people.
Lost.
Brandon Marshall's an NFL receiver.
Okay.
Now has
Oh, yeah, okay.
Now has a podcast. You know who he is.
Yes, I do.
He's
now-
a rapper?
No, he's a ex-football player who has a podcast who got Steve Will Do It to call him out, like put him on blast, and it was awkward. Now
He put who on blast?
Steve Will Do It, accusing him of helping 6ix9ine set up this guy.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
okay.
as I say it, I'm like, this is so lame.
Yeah.
Let's
for me
talk
to
about
talk
Brendan
about-
As I'm
Schaub
listening
some more.
to
It's like, yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
a girl
Yeah.
talking about Corey Haim and Corey
Well,
Feldman.
that's
I mean, this episode, you're right, should have been an MMA. There have been MMA episodes where MMA was talked about less than this episode. Like that Bobby Green episode was less of an MMA than this episode.
It's more about the penal system.
And I don't like when hunters come on, but at least you have the possibility of getting like a good bear story or a good like.
Yeah, but we've heard them all.
No,
We've
no,
heard them all.
I'm just saying, Cam Haines is never talks about hunting. He talks about like endurance sometimes. He talks about archery, and now apparently solely MMA.
Yeah, I mean, he's really into MMA.
And I think they'll put it together because they were sort of like, Andy Stump, these guys. I don't know why they do stuff
Like
to push the edge.
but the endurance.
climbing a mountain with a bow on your back.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, not that. Forget that. I'm okay if you want to fucking go on these crazy hunts. That kind of seems like some fun to me.
no, but there's definitely a thrill.
The
danger.
endurance races that Cam Haines does are like 4-day, no sleeping,
Yeah, but-
17,000 miles barefoot through the fucking desert.
But even then, even when he hunts, he's like, it has to be as difficult as it can.
Yes, it has to be.
Well, he just wants it to be a challenge. I can kind of understand that part. But
Well-
you're getting the food. You're doing the thing, It's not a race.
The one thing that resonated with me is like, show me the guy who's killed $4 in a year.
What do you mean?
Like it is so hard. That's why there isn't. I guess they could farm these animals, but to catch a wild animal, which they submit, is the healthiest meat you can have. Something that's just living its best life in the wild, more than something that sits in a pasture or whatever. Is this high game? Elk are up in the mountains. You can only go you can't pay enough money. Maybe you drop off in a helicopter. I don't know.
So what are you saying? He can't get 4?
You said, "Show me the guy." Show me this is easier. It's just money to do this.
Yeah, but I think he also was saying with a bow, because I'm fairly certain there's a ton of people out there that get $4 with a gun.
I felt Joe said with I think you do with the gun is like, show him to me. I really think.
I guarantee you there was like 5,000 rednecks out there listening to him say that were like,
I wonder, but if it's an elk buck, it may be just that rarefied a prize.
I know
it's so hard to get.
I know with those bighorn sheep, people don't hunt very many of them a year. That they'll only give away one tag.
well, that's different. That's a tag issue.
Yeah.
Well, there's a tag issue with elk too. I'm sure you don't just.
Well, then
go
maybe
out
that's
and-
Cam Haynes' flex. Show me the guy who can get 4 tags in a year.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know if they're that rare.
I mean, that being said, that's the only thing that stuck out to me in this whole podcast.
That's the only note you have.
No. Healthier meat's better. The healthier meat is a more wild meat. It's wonder why we don't eat cheetahs or something.
It just
like that.
whenever they have these discussions, it just feels like rich dudes stroking each other's cocks about. And I get it, like
This was a lot of that.
It's because you don't. Sorry, just before that stroking part, it's because you don't eat a lot of predators, Kamar. You eat prey animals.
I don't.
No, most people
Yeah.
don't. You hear of some people eating bear, but they're omnivores, right? But you asked why don't they eat cheetahs? Why don't we eat wolves? It's because you don't eat predators.
in general.
in general, it's not good meat. I don't think.
Elk is not a predator.
No, I think it's like a weird. I feel like it's a weird handshake agreement we have.
That's interesting.
It's
You know what I mean?
The sheepdog and the coyote.
Yeah.
Hey Al. Hey Frank.
That's it.
But I don't think it is. I think like the reason bears do taste okay, I think is because they're eating both plants and.
Fair enough.
And look, a deer will eat a mouse if it can, but they don't eat a lot of. They're eating mostly grass or plants.
Just back to the stroking thing. I just
Don't eat predators.
Sorry.
I just mean
Fish.
I just mean like hunting is a prohibitive sport. Like if you're poor, you cannot hunt.
Why?
Well, you need a permit and a gun. Those cost money that most poor people don't have.
I
Not
mean,
here.
A gun is only like a couple of $100, really. You could.
I mean, listen, most Americans have a gun, so I guess you can scratch that.
The black market for a hell of a lot cheaper than that.
You're shooting a hot gun at fucking deer.
I don't mean hot like it's been in a murder. I mean like there must be people who just, hey Harry, you want to buy my old rifle? Like let's not get old Jim Law involved, you know?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of that in the
You'd have to
States.
check in with First Nations because they don't have to have tags. They can hunt as much as they want of whatever they want. Maybe someone has $4. That's maybe we'll find them on a reserve.
You've gone back to there are people who are getting $4 here. I agree with Matt. Maybe bow hunters, again, it's a much harder endeavor.
So
maybe if you're wrestling them.
Up the
that would
mountain,
There's
also
got to be a
be-
guy with a
tougher
fucking...
environment, the tougher discipline to kill it. Like it's all about the challenge.
I get it, but I'm telling you, there's got to be some sharpshooter out there who his challenge is like, I'm going to take down this fucking elk from like 3 kilometers away. That's probably too far, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to have to curve this bullet around the earth to kill this fucking elk.
I watch a lot of, or I did before Below Deck, I watch a lot of Below Zero, Life Below Zero, those ones, or Lawless Island. These are all like where people are doing a lot of hunting. And most people have like a range that they can shoot from, and anything else, they won't risk it because they don't want to injure that animal badly.
Okay.
Right? And they get like a bad shot. That's the whole thing. Ethical.
You know what I
Gun
just
needs to
thought
be further
too?
away than the bow.
Well, no, but I just
You
thought
have to
too,
be
like
much closer with the bow.
a gun, the further away you are, because like an elk is fucking fast. So like if you're super far away, there's a chance that
It has time to react.
potentially between the, well, I'm just meaning as far as a clean kill is concerned.
Yeah, even if you reacted just a bit.
That's what I'm saying.
where
Even the
you aimed
slightest
is
of
now.
move,
Well,
and then
I think
you.
just the margin of error too. You're like, you.
I'm
from
talking though,
further
like
away.
U.S. marksman.
Well, that would be different if you knew how to like fucking play your bullet through the wind and shit.
I'm
I
just
think
saying,
you could probably
of
do
all
whatever the fuck
hear
you
me out.
wanted.
I'm just saying, of all the countries in the world, it seems like the U.S. would have the most dudes like that.
Interesting.
and
As far as $4, show me the guy. Like I'm like Cam Haines, you probably know the guy.
We see deer
Yeah.
when you're driving up to your cottage. Or
Yeah, you
someone
see
else's
deer
cottage,
everywhere, yeah.
but you don't see bucks. You
Well,
see
no.
a mom and little babies. I don't think I've ever seen a buck in my life.
During the rut, you'll probably see a lot of bucks.
But I've never seen it.
Well,
I
that's
just
because
never
they're
seen it.
out doing buck shit way in the woods, and
So
they
the
only
elks are
come.
really far away, so that just adds to the like. There's things they could hunt that are probably easier. Or
like
trap, I guess.
possums or something.
I don't think you.
Well,
hunt
what are you
those.
talking about?
Like the access deer, I think. But even then,
No, there's a lot
so
of them.
agile.
But to Matt's point earlier, those things are actually dodging arrows, Joe says.
bison. I think bison's pretty easy to get.
Well, I don't. I think you have to get a tag for a bison, and there aren't very many of them. So
four bucks might be
on.
the ring. Then they talked about Mike Tyson. We always talk about Mike Tyson.
I never heard what happened with him punching that guy. Is that just?
What, are you kidding me?
It's gone now.
How much fucking down below have you been watching? You didn't see the video of Mike Tyson?
No, I saw.
Oh, okay.
I mean, down below.
Whatever the fuck it's called.
Has anything happened?
I think it was
did
like
he
the
get
Dave
in
Chappelle thing.
trouble?
Immediate
Did he-
justice. You fuck with Tyson, you get punch out with Tyson. We
That's
all move
just
on with our
everybody's
lives.
okay. The judge was like,
Yeah,
"Do wrongs make it
yeah,
right."
I feel like the judge walked into court and did just that with his hands. Yeah, and was like, "We all
know-
see justice here, right?" Yeah, huh?
What is good, dude?
And
Yeah.
it's Mike fucking Tyson.
I feel
That's
like
the judge.
I feel like even the guy knew, like the way he was sitting there all bloodied up after, like, and seeing his record. Now, again, I don't hold his record against him, like, but I hold his assholeness against him. Like, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. You knew exactly what was going to happen.
I feel like everybody involved just kind of says, "Well, it was Mike Tyson," including the guy who got fucking beat up, the judge, the lawyers, the guy's mom.
I don't think anyone watched that and was like, That guy didn't have a little bit of a shit kicking coming. And again, it's not like Mike really teed him up.
He had been filming too for like a couple of minutes.
His buddy,
of
yeah.
him like
I'm telling
fucking
you,
around.
when I saw those guys, I was like fracking money.
Or I wonder, I saw up on my land was talking about if he was instigating him, thinking he get punched in the face, and
Trying to get a
payday.
lawsuit.
Yeah, something like that.
That's why he was on the flight in the first place. It was like
It's
it was
it's
a
a
con
full
job.
setup. Yeah.
4D chess.
Dirty rotten scoundrel.
I think he was wasting
style.
the time. He said, "What the fuck?" Or
Well,
it all worked itself
Mission
out.
accomplished.
Definitely, like that one, the Joe List joke where he talks about the molester, and
He's testing you
no,
here.
the parent wants to go to the judge. Judge, just give me 2 minutes in the back room.
Yeah.
With the molester, please. Just give me 2 minutes. And he says, "What if that happened to you?" You go, "Just give me a minute with him." He's like, "Okay."
Okay.
He's like, "What?"
Yeah.
No,
Well, hold on. I was expecting like a hold me back type.
I was just trying to sound good in front of the court, and then you come out 2 minutes later and go, "Can I get another 2 minutes?" And those two guys there, you beat the shit out of me.
Here you go.
Anyways, that's Joe.
Kamar really
Jesse
like
had
yeah.
to be there.
Kamar really liked the special.
Cam was talking about how he thought like environment sort of dictates your path. In that, like he was raised up in the mountains or whatever in that area, and that's how he got into hunting and just went that way. Where is the kid who just fished off the boardwalk becomes I don't know, like a street artist?
I mean, it's 100% true though, because, like, look, if you were born up in the country, you'd be good at country things. We were born in the cities, so unless you had a cottage or something like that, you were never going to experience those country lifestyles.
So the city's still an environment. What does that sort of?
Well, think about it like this,
You're-
Kamar. Let's say, like, if you grow up in Southern California, you probably have 100x better chance of becoming a professional skateboarder than if you do if you're born anywhere else in the world.
Alaska.
Okay, like anywhere in Canada, you're
Any place mild.
anywhere in Canada, you're immediately handcuffed 6 months of the season, so it's very tough. Like Spain, I guess, spits out a lot of. Brazil also spits out a lot of pro skate. But you know what I mean? Like,
Australia.
yeah, those are places though. Like again, same thing. Acting. Like if you come up in California, you have such a bigger chance of.
Definitely. If you were in California, that makes
So-
sense to me.
Yeah. So I would say there's a lot of stuff like that. Like same thing, New York. You know,
Be a
like
banker.
I mean, New York has a lot
I
of
just
things.
got
Yeah, yeah.
ideas.
No, you're
I'm
right.
not-
Yeah.
I'm not debating you or disputing it. I just wonder, like, you have the least applicable skills for life being a city slicker. Right?
Well, it depends on whether you live in a city or a country. If you live in a city and you learn how to survive the streets, then you've done a really good job for yourself, right? Because you live in a city and you always will forevermore. If I was to go out to the country now, I would wish right? Am I making
Does
sense?
the
I mean,
city
I-
person die in the country? The country person can still survive in the city. But
You're
it's just
assuming that
uncomfortable.
there's going to be some sort of catastrophe where you're going to have to use country skills. And what I'm saying is you could live your whole life, your 80 years or whatever it is, and never leave the city. So you would only need to know how to watch out for dudes in the park and how to get the best deal on coffee. And you know what I'm saying?
What I was trying to say is that country skills are the most useful skills compared to city skills. Obviously, all skills can be used where you are.
No, but I'm saying only if you live in the country. Like if you live in the city and you never leave the city, why do you need to know how to chop wood? That shit.
I mean,
is
hold on, though,
fucking inconsequential to you.
Think about it more like this. Let's find I think the good balance is like, let's say some sort of catastrophe does happen. Not like world ending, but like, you know,
This event.
sure, whatever. Let's just say the power's out for a long
This event,
this event.
wasn't a fucking tsunami, man.
Simon, let's just say the power's out for an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah.
You can kind of have like where we are now, you can kind of have the best of both worlds. Like Kamar's country guy could be the guy who's like, oh, well, I wired up my whole barn for electricity. He gets the power on. The city guy had a job coding. So he codes up, you know what I mean? Like there's stuff like that.
starves
Like,
to death.
but even again, like he starves. No, but like I know what you're saying too. Like there's street smarts can help you. Again, you could talk your way out of some scenario where the fucking city, the country guy is just kind of.
As long as the powers are.
He should have prefaced it with if there was an event. Probably, Kamar, you are correct. The country skills would be more useful. But exactly like Matt is saying, if there is an event, you may have to navigate through some burned out cities, and you may need to know some how to spot a hooker or something.
I love that during the apocalypse, there's still girls out there. Hey, baby.
You've watched fucking post-apocalyptic movies,
I wasn't trying to dispute that there are useful skills in the city. I just think overall the country skills.
You better know how to light a fire, as opposed to how to find a prostitute. I get it.
Learn how to code.
No, listen, I agree with Kamar in the sense that, like, yeah, if there's a lot of skills that you would learn growing up on a farm that should the power go out or shit hit the fan, you're going to be way better equipped.
Oh, no, I agree with him, too. That's not the question he asked.
Yeah.
He didn't preface it properly.
My bad.
Like, dude, I always think about it. If I'm, like, in a last man on earth scenario, I am so ill-equipped to get anything done.
And he's driving off the top of a building anyways on a motorcycle.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah,
it's an electric scooter now.
No, but I just think about someone like my stepdad or like even my dad. Like, you know, they would be okay. Like they just knew. I don't know.
There's some resourcefulness to it. It doesn't matter.
There's like our parents' generation was the last generation of Joe talks about this often, but they were the last generation of like every dude knew how to they knew some carpentry, they knew how to fix a car. All that stuff, like that was just that was your shit. You had to know how to do that.
No power. You have axe, saw, hammer, some nails. You got to build a house, but no access to books or anything. You just gotta.
I mean, I'll say this, Kamar. I watch a shitload of dudes out in the woods building cabins from nothing on YouTube, and I mean
I'd have a
fucking
good idea
shitload.
of how to do it.
I'm not saying I could do it.
No. I said I'd have a good idea how to do it.
Yeah.
In an emergency, I think I could make something happen.
I just got to find out where to call for 400 2x4s.
I watched this guy make his own 2x4s. It was fucking insane.
Well, okay, so if you have all those tools, but do you survive long enough to do it?
No.
You sort of figure it out.
Listen, when you are going off the building, like you said you were going to do, you want
Mr.
100% have to do it on your scooter, because the humor in that, knowing that scooter couldn't even if you did the perfect jump, you couldn't make it, but you have to set it up like Evil Knievel, do it so you're going to go over a canyon.
I know there's one problem. The scooter really
and just
dies.
never make it.
The scooter really dies when it goes on any sort of incline.
Perfect.
So the ramp.
Oh, you wouldn't make it up the ramp.
I'd want to go down and just sort of.
For the comedic value, Kamar, you'd make it halfway up the ramp, ditch the scooter, run, sprint, jump.
Land on the telephone wire.
Die.
People love watching other people being successful at what they do. Was another thing they were talking about. You love watching Michael Jordan, whoever the best fighter is. Like, you'll tune in to see whoever's the best at what they do. Like, we sort of like that. Okay. Seeing excellence.
You know why? I think
I don't. I was sort of like, yeah, we do.
This guy's
like
such a dick. I think it's because we like watching very difficult things look easy. It gives you the feeling like, oh, I could.
There's a potential that is human being with hands, arms, and a head doing something. I have those things too. The work in between is questionable, but yeah.
Do we like what? I think we like watching any kind of excellence. It doesn't even have to be things that we necessarily like. Like, you'll watch two people who are the best at anything compete.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
The two best fucking nose pickers. You would watch that because.
I mean, that's a very weird one.
You gotta know who's gonna win.
I mean, it's Johnny Picknose, obviously.
And watching sort of like shitty people play football just doesn't hit the same as watching.
I'll use skateboarding again as the perfect example. Like, if you watch 3 kids on the street who are absolutely garbage at skateboarding, you're like, what am I watching here? But if you go watch 3 professionals do it, you're like, holy fuck, this is really something else, isn't it?
It looks amazing.
Soccer's another one. Like, it's funny to me because, like, we didn't grow up with soccer. So, like, when you watch someone from, like, England, like, just juggle a ball, like, for them, they could juggle 100 times, no problem. Whereas, like,
I hate to say it, but I feel like I can play, but not now, because I'm old.
Yeah.
Say between 26 and 36 is about your physical prime.
Okay.
I think I could have played professional women's soccer.
You definitely could not.
I don't know. They look
1,000% you could not.
He's always the detractor.
No, are you kidding? You say something real and I will get behind you. But you want to live in the fucking clouds? No,
I mean,
man.
first of all, Canada has like one of the number one, like the top 3 ranked teams in the world. So you're saying you could make the Canadian women's team. So if you're telling me if right now you're 26 and you change your gender, you think you're a walk-on to the Canadian women's team? I'm with Simon.
First of all,
this is so ludicrous. This is such a hot take. This is
he
bananas.
He wouldn't even make a university squad. I would
not
be
the men's team.
On a women's team.
Of course not the men's
on
team.
On a
no
women's
disrespect.
team, you would not make the Carleton
school.
Ravens women team.
Kamar.
No fucking way. I would be surprised if you could even compete against high school soccer girls.
I would too if I could not compete against.
Your physical prowess doesn't come into play. You're not boxing people out.
Fair enough.
In his defense, a team of 15-year-old boys beat the U.S. women's soccer team.
Oh,
those are probably really good soccer players.
I understand.
Kamar
I
is
understand,
not
but I'm
somewhere in between. I was just saying.
I was offering you an olive branch. I took it.
Hold on. You watch the highest end men's soccer, and then you watch the highest end women's soccer, and it's 2 different sports. Like the pace on the ball, the kicks, it's just.
And then you watch you, and you don't even think you're watching soccer. Like,
hold on. I think soccer's a bad example because there are some professional men's leagues where the soccer isn't great, and some of the top level women's soccer is better than that. I think the NBA is a perfect example.
To the WNBA.
The WNBA is an unwatchable program.
I don't think I could ever play basketball.
We're still not as good as those girls, Matt.
I was never good at basketball.
You, me, and Kamar.
But none of us are over 6 feet.
He is saying... Okay,
I was never good at basketball, and I would not say basketball, soccer. You pick a sport. In my prime, women's, I could be soccer's in...
Kamar, if you want to play with the Canadian women, so be it. Who am I to say you can't do that?
Thank you.
They would be me saying I want to be on the PGA Seniors Tour. That's crazy.
I just want to clarify though. Again, you're not sitting on the bench. You think you're a walk-on starter.
No, bench. Man.
Okay.
I'll meet you halfway.
Okay.
Listen. At least he's being a little bit realistic.
Never make the team.
My point's been lost in his this absurd statement.
This is absurd.
Cam gave Joe credit for there's enough cake for everyone, which I think you say that, but no one really believes it. Because I see some people. I was talking to a buddy the other day who wants to start a YouTube channel. He's got expertise, and he was all worried about how to get it. I was like, just do it.
Oh, tell him not to. Total waste of time.
No,
couldn't suggest against it more strongly.
With lessons or
Do
instructional
you have
stuff.
any advice for anyone?
Yeah,
just
don't
do it.
Yeah.
Whatever you're planning
Turn
to
around.
do, don't.
Turn around right now.
My advice was do it, and then he was worried about competing with the other channels that would be doing this. Is it does. There's enough people. You need 100,000 people to watch a video, and then become something. Do you know what I mean? And this is not 3 guys talking about a podcast. This is how to start at A and end at B or C.
Kamar, you're forgetting though. Dude, remember that guy Dogface who was skateboarding down the street with fucking cranberry juice? That guy tried his hardest to become a thing, and that video had hundreds of millions of views.
It's because of the lockdown.
TikTok.
It's because of the lockdown. I think that was pre-lockdown, wasn't
Really?
it?
I thought that was right when we were all locked down.
No, because that dude was skateboarding down the street in
I
California.
bet you if you did a sensible video
That's because-
how to set up a skateboard deck and just did it well, I think that would get a lot of views.
There's like a million. There's probably a million of those.
And there's enough to go around. That's all I'm just because they've been done, don't think you can't do it. That was my advice to his friend. I'm sure they've videos out there, but there's so many people and there's people coming. Maybe it'll take 5 years for it to hit or get shared. I just think there's enough cake to go around.
I wonder if YouTube will be around then.
Dude, YouTube, first of all, YouTube is only getting bigger.
Sorry.
Twitch is dead. Twitch is dying.
Is that right?
Amazon is going to get rid of it, which means they're all going to move over to YouTube and bring all their viewers.
The reason I ask is because Twitter, that's not going through now, right? With old Elon. And
who knows?
If it doesn't go through, they're dead. they won't recover from that, I don't think, you know, so there'll
You're
have
about
to
to
be
get
a
there,
new, oh, you what? I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
it's all right. It's all right.
They talk about that in this?
They talked to Cam was saying it's freed me. Like, I feel like it's better. Than Joe was saying I got this many, and then I think it was Jamie piped in and said, well, the sale's on hold now because it turns out all the users are fake, which is crazy.
Well, what a good way to get out of a deal. You know what I mean?
And expose the fraud.
Expose this company to, you know, whatever. Maybe they go out of business, and he already has his new fucking elongate or whatever fucking ready to go. Did you hear what he said?
What?
So, you know, he got accused of
Showing his
Expose
dick.
himself on the plane.
Yeah.
on the plane, and they had to pay $250,000 in a settlement.
Yeah, so he
And
immediately started a litigation wing of Tesla.
oh, I didn't know that. He tweeted out just after that. He's like, well, we finally get to use hashtag elongate. You know, like, you know,
Yeah,
Watergate.
elongate. Yeah, yeah.
He's been seeing it coming.
He didn't, that didn't go over well.
Well, and when they talked about this, and they just talk about boosting posts and like what I talk about what is real or what is not real. My big thing right now is the globe, right?
Yeah.
The
Oh,
globe-
sorry.
The globe we see is not a real. That's what the planet looks like. This is, and what it's because of scale, because of turn. You can't make Africa as big, and Greenland looks too big. But that, okay, fine. That's not true. That doesn't really look like that. It looks like something else, right?
But I mean, again, Kamar, you can see satellite photos of the Earth from space that will give you the exact representation you want, right?
Sorry,
think you
Kate.
can.
Are
I
you
think they're
saying
all- Yeah, you
that
can.
I think
the
they're
fact
all,
that Africa is so small in comparison to North America, is that what you're driving at?
Yeah.
Well, that's just the winners are writing the fucking
Exactly.
history.
But in our mind, we're all conditioned to think that's basically what it looks like. It probably doesn't look like that at all.
do you think?
hold on.
But at
What do you mean
all,
by not at all?
Meaning it's a square, or at all like it's a ball, but different
The land
places?
masses where they are.
Sure,
isn't-
yes,
it's not,
I
it's not-
agree.
It's not true.
I-
It's just not true. It's a representation of something.
I agree.
Where I'm trying to get this is like people who buy Twitter followers or whatever. Like Joe is saying, you know, if you have 1 million followers, Bellator or whoever would be more interested as a fighter. But if 500,000 of those are bought, like they're gonna find out, oh, we didn't get more pullover of your just the whole social media thing is not real.
Well, the whole thing
Obviously.
is built on fucking smoke and mirrors.
Smoke
like-
and mirrors.
Yeah, but you got to realize it's the same. Like, okay.
So is television. Like, look at the Nielsen ratings. It's,
Yeah, but everything is like, listen.
Those 8 homes
Hold on.
decide what people
Let's
are
say
watching.
overnight we start getting millions of extra listens. Like, are we really going to be angry and like, are we going to dig
Not
deep
at
to
all.
find out where they came
What
from?
if
No,
it came
you
No,
ain't
we're
gonna
just going to
be
sign
full-
checks. That's
you ain't
all we're
gonna
going to
be,
fucking
yeah,
do.
Getting in touch with anybody.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, you know,
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a thing of misrepresentation being accepted.
I think the closer we look at any existing structures, things we hold to be, you know, like important, Hollywood, the stock market, it all kind of operates like that. But nobody, the people who are making money must outweigh the people who are losing money. Otherwise, there'd be like some sort of uprising, right?
yeah, but okay, let's take an example like YouTube. So let's say YouTube, excuse me, let's say YouTube says we have, I don't know, 1 billion accounts. And, you know, let's say your argument was, well, half of those are fake. It doesn't really matter because they're not, like, their advertising dollars rely on views, not how many accounts they have.
Yeah.
Whereas Twitter probably more.
It's apples and oranges.
Well, Twitter probably relies more on how many accounts. But what's even crazier is, like, let's say 50% are bots. You then have to extrapolate that further and go remove another 25% because you, Kamar, have your personal account, but you also handle the Fugazi JRE account. You know what I mean? So that right there is 2 accounts attached to one person. How many people have a personal and a business account? Like,
All this is about what Elon is saying and the validity of, like, I thought I was buying a social media platform with X million people on it.
Yeah.
It turns out it's half that.
So now give me
This-
a better price.
this is a
That's
whole- this
what
is a whole
Elon's
different
doing.
ballgame.
I
Or
still
he
go back.
never had the money in the first place, and this is an easy way for him to back out, but
Listen.
still get all the press as he was trying to save the fucking day like Superman.
I still go back to the fact. What was I going to say?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I totally forget.
Elon.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to get there. It's
I
gone.
have no problem if we were to spend $5,000 to make us seem like we have 100,000 more listeners, and we start making that much X amount of money, and people say, I don't think it's true. It's like, well, no one cares because they're paying. Like, I have no problem with that. I just wouldn't walk around thinking I'm really famous. I'd have imposter syndrome, self-inflicted imposter syndrome.
Well, that's I mean,
He was saying he knew multiple. We know this guy who's done this. Joe's very careful never to name names. He said there's lots of people who are boosting this post, and how does that guy have this many? Which he doesn't look at that sort of stuff, which I'm so lost of what the true. I believe he rarely looks at comments. I can believe that. I believe that's good advice for anyone who's getting a lot of comments. You'll go crazy, but not. I don't know look at numbers whatsoever. I just don't believe that.
I don't believe that
I
either.
just don't believe it. It doesn't matter if he does or he doesn't.
I mean, I will say this: the longer we've done this, the less I look at the numbers.
And the happier you've become. In the beginning, it was like.
I mean, I have
looking to see
I have
something.
to look at them for the advertising purposes. So for that, I have to check once a week at
But
least.
I was obsessed in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, at
Now
the beginning it was
I even
ridiculous,
forgot-
checking
I
like
forgot to look.
15 times a day, and
50
now.
times every 15 minutes.
So to be honest, 10 years in and knowing that you're just getting like a fucking a stupid amount of downloads, he might honestly not.
I honestly think, though, with this repetition of guests and stuff, I feel like he's heading towards going down. I think he's on a downturn.
there's definitely.
Well, again,
And someone else is coming. Well, hey, such is life.
Yeah.
We attach ourselves to a dead horse or whatever. So be it. Like, I can't hope that he turns it around so it
No,
works
of
out for
course.
me. I'm just like,
it
I'm
would be
watching this.
such an easy pivot for him. It's not like Joe would have to do anything drastically different to revitalize the show. You know what I mean? He just
I
has
wonder.
to have
I
some
wo-
different guests on.
I
That's
wonder
it.
because I've seen the Fighter and the Kid. Their numbers are down. I don't know if they come back
yeah,
up.
but there's
or
a
if it's
big
like-
controversy
So
there.
you've
like-
stopped looking at our numbers, but you're obsessed with everybody else's numbers.
No, I noted it started with the Joe Budden scandal when he fired the guys or whatever happened.
Whatever happened with that?
They started their own thing. He started their own thing. Both of them have less numbers than the show did have.
They hate each other.
I don't know what they actually think on paper. Those guys,
But
kept
that makes
going.
sense that both shows would have less because
They're
you're splitting up
splitting
an
an
audience.
But even more than if you add them back together, then that's what it was.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying that would,
It was doing better than they are, but maybe they're making more because they were employee of Joe Budden. They're more in control of their own thing. There's so
If
many
they both
factors.
manage to get a successful thing out of it, like they achieved it. You know?
I do it for music, mostly on YouTube. Like, you see, if something has 60 million views, I'm going to like, okay, I'll check this out. Yeah, maybe I won't like it, or say, I see this, why it's super popular. But if someone has 140,000 views, I'm like, it's been out for 2 years, and
Listen,
that's why I look at views.
what I've learned from the deep dive that I've done on YouTube is like it's insane how many creators out there put out a video that gets a ton of views and they can't monetize it. They just do it to keep the thing churning, which is crazy to me, the amount of work that goes into some of them.
Because it has questionable content?
No.
sort of
Well,
thing?
first of all, like right now, they have this self-policing thing. So I know exactly, because I have the list, I know exactly what YouTube is looking for as far as advertisers, and it's insane. I'll show it to you later.
No swearing.
Well, there's levels. There's levels of swearing, and it's like how deep in is the swearing? Like, is it in the thumbnail? Do you talk about things that could be questionable in content? Like, is it something that could upset someone? The list it's long.
COVID, you mean?
I'm sure that's on there, but even then, the point, Kamar, is more like, so we did a live stream, and the live stream automatically goes up as a video you can watch, and I noticed that it got a copyright, not a strike,
That's sweet.
but it got a copyright like notice, and I was like, what the fuck? And I couldn't figure out what it was, and I realized we watched that like 10 seconds of Family Feud. So the
Well, I thought it was
company,
a Family Guy.
no, it's Family Feud.
yeah.
We watched the Family Guy before we
That
started
media company,
recording.
my bad.
So Fremantle or whatever the company is that owns it gave us, but
Fremantle.
what it means is, and that's what I learned is like you.
Fremantle.
Well, it's not free. It's
No,
it's-
no,
yeah.
I know. It was just funny.
I don't know how to say the company's name. Who cares? The point being, it just means like we can keep that video up, but if we ever monetize it, they make all the money.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys that do like any reaction video that you see a guy doing that gets like 1 million views. He's not making money off
loss
that.
leader.
He's just doing it so that he keeps the machine going because you've got to put up like a video a day or 2 videos a day. And it's just weird to me that you put in that much work. But I mean, again, I guess it's just to keep the thing going.
And what's the
Gotta keep the
loophole where
content.
somebody is like drawing a picture while they're talking?
What, fair use?
Is that what that is?
I don't know what you're talking
Talk
about.
to Ethan about that one.
Ethan.
From H3H. I don't know what you're talking about though, Simon. While you're drawing something while talking.
Like there's some guy who does a YouTube video where he's like talking,
Yeah.
telling a story. Let's say he's talking about some actor, and he's drawing a picture of him at the same time during some spots. And there's like some loophole he's.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it
No.
doesn't-
I'm
forget
interested. Again, I'm such a hypocrite, but I always wanted to just read Shel Silverstein stories, short stories, especially get to the short. Mm-hmm. Would that get copyright?
Yeah.
How?
It's the same thing. Like if you do a cover of a song, you can put that up and you can get like, let's say you did an incredible cover of like Sam Cooke or Bill Withers and it gets seen by the world, like a billion views. That's great for you as far as you, that's a jump off point, but that's someone else's material.
But so someone has to. Sorry, Simon.
No, go ahead.
And
Someone has to find it.
oh, listen,
I'm assuming with music.
music
like
is
metadata
music
that
is
just
scrubbed
shows up.
music is scrubbed immediately through all of YouTube and all that shit. It is the first thing that would get flagged.
Me
Like
just reading words is not going to read
if
that.
Kamar wanted to read fairy tales, I think this is what you're getting at.
That's-
Good night fairy tales. What would stop him from doing
Well, fairy
that?
tales are different because I believe those are public domain.
Right, like Hans Christian Andersen. I don't think anybody's going to be coming after the Grimm.
Someone
brothers,
has to
you know?
notice it and then strike it. Versus the music sort of sets off alarms and all the music companies. Okay, we got another one. Someone use your song.
I mean, think about it. We had something with like 140 views or 200 views, whatever it was, and it got copied. Like, that's how good they are on this algorithm. It doesn't matter your size or, you know what I
Like,
mean?
that was the show. Like with the audio of Steve Harvey tick something.
There was
off.
no audio. Remember that they didn't have the audio. That's why we stopped. So I'm telling you, it's dicey.
Algo?
I mean,
is it Algo's figuring it
yeah,
out?
it's an algo, of
And
course.
I'm not even doing it, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, Kamar, you can go to a lawyer and a lawyer could tell you like what falls under public domain because there's definitely like Simon was talking about like Brothers Grimm or something. Like a lot of that is public domain, and you could
Disney
probably.
try to fucking buy that. Probably.
Well, I'm just
Sorry
saying.
about
But
that
if he went
swearing
and
too.
tried to read a Stephen King short story, you think that Stephen King's estate would, or sorry, people would then get in touch.
I wish I had more energy because almost. worth
That's
it
our.
just to
Think
find
about it
out.
like this.
4 viewers you got, they're ours now, bitch.
Simon, think about it like this. Let's say you start a successful YouTube channel. You have 10 million followers, and you decide, I'm going to read a Stephen King novel through and through for a video, and it gets 50 million views. You think in theory, you're like, well, that's good for Stephen King, but he's probably selling that book on Audible for $9 a, you know what I mean? And now you've given it away for free, and 50 million people have listened to it. That's so.
And you only made like 35 cents.
Oh no, on 50 million views, you make bank.
Really?
Oh yeah, if you have a video with if you have a monetized video with 50 million
Oh,
views,
50 million. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot. Of
That's
views.
like $60,000.
What if you had one with like 100,000 views? Is that bank?
$600 maybe.
yeah, it's not you're not getting rich.
But if you're putting one of those a week, then it starts to add up. Full bulls in a year. We already went over that. Talk about being undeniable.
oh, let's just rate this.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
One more thing. It is a lifestyle, like we were talking about social media people, people rent a private jet to make them look like the original plane. The hunting lifestyle, you can't fake it.
I mean, you could.
Well, they were saying you can't. You can't just like,
You'll
oh,
just
look
be
at the bull I had.
unsuccessful. Yeah.
If you want to be a successful hunter, you gotta do the real deal and go through the motions, and that's what.
Yeah, but you could fake that success. Like you could pay a crew of Joe Rogan nobodies. Like I'm just not nobodies, but people that aren't that high, just to shoot a
You
bull,
could
and then you
also
go out and take
sit-
the photo.
You could
like,
also sit in a tree and set up a feed trap and get
Yeah,
them a lot
yeah.
easier.
That's probably a lot more trouble than just doing it the right way.
No,
They were
I
just
don't
saying
think so.
people who are real and doing it, and that's why people gravitate to Remy.
I mean, I agree with
Cam,
that. Listen,
whatever.
people always choose authenticity over bullshit,
And they're
and most people
they're out
can
there
smell
doing it.
bullshit. So
And it's all about inspiration.
I give it a 1.
No sleeves, one.
Simon,
1.
Hey,
No.
we have an agreement. See him? I got him before he had to pump fake the. Simon doesn't like agreeing. He's not an agreeable person.
No, it wasn't anything about agreeing. I was thinking about my rating and what I had to rate the other two now. So, but I think it still makes sense.
Especially because it was an MMA, as
all
far as
good.
I'm concerned.
Yeah, that was an MMA.
It was more than 50% of it was talking about fighting.
Are
It
we
was
gonna do
so
a 10? Are we
boring.
gonna do a 10-minute Jack Carr, or are we gonna take a break and do like 2:30 or like 45?
I thought
50?
we'd fly through Jack Carr, then dig into.
Do you have an hour of Bert? Okay, then yeah, let's do Jack Carr real quick.